So the next step is to draw a rigging sketch for the elevator so that we know exactly where all of the pieces of the rigging are positioned. So for that, I'm actually going to delete some of these dimensions that we put in before and go back to dimensioning pieces directly. And that's because I'm going to separate the stages, and that'll make it easier to put this together without making any mistakes. So this way I can pull the stages apart. And the reason why I'm doing it this way is because the rigging for any given stage makes a loop within that stage. And you can see this most clearly with the chain. So the chain here starts at the bottom of this stationary U structure, and the top of it is anchored to the top of the same stationary U structure. So it's just this continuous loop. And it's the same thing for all of the lines, all the dynema in between. This pair of blocks down here, if you follow around the outside, you can see it's this rectangular frame, and there's blocks that are just above and below each other on the same rectangular frame. So because this is now separated, when I go to put in the blocks here and here, I won't accidentally put one block here and one block here and try and stretch between them. So I could do that very easily on this drawing. And after that, I can take and I can put this back together. I can put the pieces on the collapsed version, and we'll build it from that. So now that I've done this, let me make sure this sketch is fully dimensioned at least, fully defined. I'm actually going to exit that sketch. We'll name this structure. And we'll make a new sketch on the front plane. All right. So, first piece of the rigging is going to go on this one. And I will start by sketching the block that represents, well, the block. It's actually called a block. We know it's going to be 1 inch tall because if you look over at the guide, it's the same height as a tube here. And let's see, total width of this thing is going to be, we've got 1/4 inch plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/4. So 2/4, 3/2. This is going to be 2 inches wide. And these holes are 1, 2, 3, 1.5 inches apart, evenly spaced inside that. So 2 inches, 1 inch, here are the 2 attachment points. Put that all horizontal. Oh, I should do a midpoint too. Vertical, horizontal. So this should all be pretty well fixed at this point. And I could just sort of install this on here, but I'm going to reuse this thing, I don't know, 8 times in the course of this sketch. So instead, I'm going to use a SolidWorks sketch feature. You can sort of make a part within a sketch. It's called a block. And let's see, make block. Here we go. Insertion points, we want to tell it, yep, so bottom left corner is a fine insertion point for it. It's just saying where in the sketch would you like the to create the block from. So there we go, there's our block. And we can move this around now, which is nice. And we type search for block, we can insert another copy of the block. And this thing here is now, you can't change the pieces of it, but it doesn't show those dimensions. If you want to edit it, you can go in and say edit block, and you can modify the pieces and it'll change all of them across the sketch. So, exit block. We should put this one here. I think we need to, yeah, there we go. These blocks are not inherently rotation locked. And now these two are. Good. So we'll do that. I'll insert the rest of the blocks for this stage. Make those vertical. And connect these. Okay, now we have approximately what we need. So once we figure out the position for these, we'll have the block on the top and the block on the bottom. And in order to find that, find the distance that it needs to go over, we can go back to the website again. Go back to this PDF of the elevator and find out how many holes over this is from the end. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4 half inches from the edge of the tube. Then I'll just throw a dimension. Edge of the tube, 4 half inches is 2. And that's that. So that's the first of the rigging. And we don't have the attachment points, the fixed attachment points, but this is the two, sort of the two pulleys, the two blocks. So let's do this one more time. Insert block. Link these together. Make these vertical. And then we could put these right next to each other, like collinear, but these blocks might interfere with each other at that point. They might hit. Let's see, would that be an issue? Maybe not. But I think let's try the next hole over, so that would be a ½ inch. And we can always go back and change this later if we need to. Okay. And that's that for this one. So go ahead and paste this over here. And we'll do the same thing. We'll do this as a guide. And then for our distances, I'll make a few construction lines. Equal those. Same thing here. Here to here. Here to here. Equal. All right, we'll do the same thing with these. Okay, there we go. So that gives us our locations there. Yeah, and then the last thing that we need to do is we need to mark the points where the lines are attached, the fixed points where the lines are attached. So for example, we have one fixed point here. And I'll probably do another block for this. Let's look at the pieces that Rev recommends, the rope clamping blocks. Here we go, these. So those look to be about 2 inches square. And they'll be centered on there, and oh, that's convenient. So turn this into a block. Make block. Insertion point should be the center. That's good. Insert a few more of these. This one here. There. Do one here. And then there will be, oh, this isn't right. This is on the wrong, you see what I mean? You can put these on the wrong ones. There we go. And then our last two clamps are going to be here and here. So this will be the spools on the carriage, but we probably don't have room for spools here. We probably need to do some sort of custom clamping block. So I'm just going to create an arbitrary custom clamping block for the 3-stage. We'll put some circles for that. Oh, these are just bolt holes. Okay. Might as well make some little spools for this. I'm going to edit this block actually. I want to give it a line such that we can put it on here. All right. Here are our final blocks. Make these collinear. Now the sketch is fully defined. Good. So that should do the trick here. And now we can move the elevator back together over here. So we'll delete this. Scoot this back together. And all of our blocks update. That's what we want to see. Good. Okay. So now we've got our rigging drawn.